Hey guys, Jordan Norell here, making my daily video about circumcision, and today I want to talk a little bit about the fact that it's not going to be easy to change this issue. It's not easy to confront this issue. It's not easy to, nothing about this issue is easy about circumcision, about trying to teach people the harm of circumcision, about sharing our stories, about facing the trauma of it. Uh, it's it's a pretty horrific thing that's happening, and so we have to realize that if we're gonna really change this, um, it's gonna take going to some really dark places inside ourselves and doing some things that we're actually pretty uncomfortable with and don't really want to do. Um, in psychology, Carl Jung, who's one of the great psychologists, has this concept of the shadow, of the dark part of ourselves, the places that we don't want to go and that we are unaware of and that we are unconscious of because it's really painful for us to go to those parts of ourselves in our experience. And so we find ways to psychologically block them out and just not feel that and not experience that. And we develop defense mechanisms around this. We find ways to not feel those feelings and have those memories, have those images, have all those unpleasant experiences come up for us. So if we want to be successful in this cause, I think what we really need to do is to integrate those parts of ourselves, is to go to those parts, find that in ourselves, and really just experience the pain of that, really just be the space in which all of that horror is happening, and stay with it and allow yourself to be aware of it. Allow yourself to be conscious of the pain that's happening inside you, of the experience of being in your body and the experiences of your body. Allow yourself to start open up to those. And by the way, this is all of these videos pretty much are things I'm saying to myself too, are things that I'm trying to help myself understand better. And so I'm saying this to me too, it's still painful for me. There's still a lot of darkness and horror that I don't want to face around this issue, and that I have to recognize and see. Oh, I don't want to think about the functions of the foreskin. I don't want to think about seeing guys with the foreskin and understanding that in my body and like knowing what that would feel like. I don't like watching like videos of it because that's really, really painful for me. I still don't like thinking about the actual circumcision itself and hearing about that and about how painful it is. That's really difficult. But slowly those things that I know that I've discovered in myself I don't want to face and I've traditionally tried to avoid somehow, I can then start to approach those slowly if I need to, or when they're coming up. These things come up. If you're facing this issue, these things will come up that just feel really, really bad, and there's some reactivity in you that's trying to fight it somehow or get away from it, and not like strategically like, oh, how can I like take this and show people in a way that they'll understand it and share it with people, and have a conversation and really, really communicate and get in sync with someone and let them know how I feel about this and tell them my story. But because all that stuff is great and you should be doing all those things, but if you're doing that from a place of total reactivity and actually just trying to escape those feelings in yourself and trying to make it so that that doesn't happen anymore, and trying to somehow act out this pain in a way of actually avoiding it, then it tends not to be as effective if you haven't slowed down and taken some time to actually just feel that pain. And it's a continual process as time goes on. Every day I spend some time while I'm doing manual restoration just feeling the pain of it, doing different psychological exercises, and looking at those parts of myself and allowing myself to feel the worst things, and asking myself, what am I still not wanting to face about this issue? What don't I want to know that I know? And then listening to that, and then allowing those images and those feelings to come up and just experience them. And yeah, just today I was watching a thing from Mama Michelle that was posted in the comments in one of the videos, and it was really hard for me because there's some stuff with my mom around this who still performs circumcisions that is still really hard for me, and I haven't figured out yet. And it's really hard. It's really painful. I don't know the way through yet, and sometimes I just get overwhelmed by it and I can't handle it. But I try to take a step back and stay with it, bring my presence to it, bring just my calmness and my breathing to it as much as I can, and it's bringing consciousness to it. It's not just overwhelming yourself with as much negative experience as you can, but actually trying to expand your tolerance, your ability to stay centered, so that whatever someone's throwing at you, they can't throw you off balance. Because there are some people who are pro-circumcision on the other side who will occasionally try to throw you off balance, or just different ways that people who are very ignorant will throw you off balance, and you'll just want to react, you won't know how to respond. And it's hard to be effective in those situations if you can't handle your own feelings that are coming up. And so, yeah, it's so important to do this, and I can tell just for myself, like, I've become so much more powerful and able to do so much more because over time I've experienced so much of the trauma of it, and just come to a place in myself where I can feel that I can be with a lot of some of the emotions that I couldn't have been with before, but also just some of the images and the facts of circumcision, of what the foreskin is and what I've lost, and how it's affected me in other ways. And I can be with that and be at peace with it, so that I can still be effective in whatever I'm doing, still be calm, still think strategically, still just remain centered in myself and moving forward. And that's because I've done and continue to do so much work around this. And to me, that's the base of everything, and of all of my effectiveness comes ultimately from my willingness to continue evolving and transforming myself, continuing to face this collective pain that isn't going to go away until we've fixed it completely. That pain is always going to keep on being there. I mean, there's babies being circumcised, as I tried to figure it out yesterday, probably like 10 babies being circumcised, or 20 babies being circumcised as I'm saying this right now, in the United States alone. And that, we can close ourselves off and not think about that, but it's still happening, and I say we should think about it. We should keep on bringing those facts to our attention, and open ourselves to experiencing it more and more, so that we can hold more and more, so that we can handle more, and so that we can then do something about it. Because we can't do anything about all these feelings in ourselves and all of these things that are happening collectively unless we first face them, face that shadow, use that pain and that suffering, and transform it into energy, transform it back into pure, just the life force energy that's trapped inside of those parts of ourselves and in our society, is all energy that can be brought back and transformed by being with it and just letting our attention experience the horror of it until we start to become able to handle that and handle ever more. So that's my advice for today to myself, and if anyone else benefits from it, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. And if you'd like to learn more about entrepreneurship, about social entrepreneurship, which is, my strategy towards changing this issue, or about self-transformation, or about circumcision trauma healing, please just let me know. Love to help anybody out. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I will talk to you again tomorrow.